have is what I hope a very exciting video for you guys. I don't know who I am having 2 book hauls in less than 2 weeks. You guys know this is very unlike me. I will be talking about one bookstore in particular, but before I get into the books that I bought there, I'll show you just 2 books that I bought while I was on vacation. This first one is sort of strange, and it's not one I'm going to sit down and read through. It's just whenever I have free time, I might open it up to a random place and read a chapter. But that is the Kingfisher Illustrated History of the World. I actually got this for free because I was in an antique store with my mom. She bought a ton of shit and I had said I wanted to purchase this, and he said just take it. I think my knowledge on some subjects is pretty big, but on history, specifically ancient history, which just covers ancient history until when the book was published in 1992, my knowledge is really little, so I do think this is a good thing for me to have. This next book I picked up for $3 at Books-A-Million, and it's a compacted trilogy of 3 books all put into one, and that is The Forbidden Game by L.J. Smith. I despise the cover. There's nothing more, I don't know why, that aggravates me more than these black YA covers with just someone's face plastered on the front. It was one of my favorite series growing up, and I will talk more about it in a video I'm thinking about doing an underrated YA books video, and let me know if that's something you'd like to see, and this would definitely be one of the ones that I would talk about. And now it is time to talk about my absolute 100% new favorite place to purchase books. The store is called Second and Charles, and before you sign off and say, Katie, I don't give a shit, the store isn't nearby me, I've never heard of it before, that's nice you found it, but what good does that help me? This is actually a chain bookstore. It's all across the US, so I apologize if you're not in the US. This store is about 40 minutes from my house, and I've driven by it multiple times, but because it's called Second and Charles, I never actually recognized it's a bookstore. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and point it out for you guys, especially because you can get just literally the most amazing deals there. I will link the website down below so that you can learn more about it and see if hopefully, cross your fingers, there is one near you. But if you're not interested in hearing me talk about the store, or maybe you just don't live in the US so it's not pertinent to you, you can just go ahead and fast forward to when I start showing the books that I got. If you've heard of the clothing store Plato's Closet, it's a chain in the States where you turn in some of your clothes and you get a little bit of cash, and then you can use it to buy things in the store that are also used. The concept is very similar for Second and Charles. Like I said, I'll link the website down below for all of the exact information, but you can walk in with basically any books, DVDs, video games, video game accessories, CDs, everything like that. There's a full list of everything you can turn in on the website. You walk into the store, throw all of your stuff into a bin, give it to one of the employees, give you a little ticket with your number on it, and then you can walk around the store, which is massive. My Second Charles took the place of a formerly huge Borders, and then you can walk around and look for some books you might want to purchase, and then up on the big monitors throughout the store, and when they are done assessing how much your stuff is worth, your number will pop up on the screen, you go back to the same employee, and they will give you 2 options. 1, you could get store credit, or 2, they can just give you cash. Now, of course, they do this in their favor because they want you to take things from their store, so it's generally the amount of store credit you would get is double the amount of cash you would get. So for example, they'll say, here you go, it's worth $20.50 of store credit, or it's worth $10.25 of cash. I know that annoys some of my friends who have turned stuff into there, but obviously I'm a book lover and I'm going there to get books anyway, and if store credit allows me to take more from the store, then I'm fine with that. But just to be clear, you don't have to do this process to purchase books from the store. You can just walk in with your own money, your own credit card, and look around, browse, and get stuff. Also, I should point out, it's not like Plato's Closet where there's an expiration date on the things you turned in. I turned in some books that were probably 8 years old and they still took them. But if they are in really terrible condition or for other various reasons, they might not take them, so just keep that in mind. So right now, I'll cut to some little clips and photos of the store. I'm assuming you guys saw in those clips was the free books little section right at the front of the store. Generally what's in the free book station is whatever the store said, nah, we don't really want to take these and put them on the shelves. In the stores it could be games, DVDs, anything like that. So they will give it back to you, and you can obviously either do whatever you want with it, or you can put it in the free book station, which is what I did with a few books that they wouldn't accept that I brought in. I did find 3 things that I wanted. The first one you guys have already seen from my Booktubeathon wrap up, and that is Prayers for Rain by Dennis Lehane. Loved this one, was really surprised at how great it was, and it was free. Next is Bridge to Terabithia by Catherine Patterson, one of my all-time classic childhood favorites. I'm sure a lot of you guys have read this and or seen the movie. If you've seen the movie, you also need to read the book. The book will probably make you cry even more than the movie does. I could kind of understand how those books were sitting in the free book pile and nobody had snatched them up, but why had nobody grabbed Buffy the Vampire Slayer? I have no idea. This is a 2-disc collection. I think it has about 8 or 10 different random episodes on it, just about Buffy fighting the greatest villains in the series. Really excited for this. I'm a big Buffy fan. So out of all the books that you guys saw me bring in, you could probably tell which ones out of those books were definite gifts. So out of all of that, and keep in mind one was a brand new Blu-ray, I don't know how much each thing was worth, but I got a total of either the option of $33 and some change of store credit, or around $16 in cash. Obviously I went for store credit and ended up using all of the money, got all these books, and got my friend also a book for free. One other tip that I will give is if you have never been in the store before, it is organized by YA. There's a huge manga section, which is amazing, especially since you guys know how expensive mangas are. Please also go ahead down below and list any mangas you think I would enjoy or animes, because they had a huge anime DVD section. I want to get back into discovering new animes, and since they're about $3 a piece there, I know I want to get into it, but I'm kind of out of the loop for what's good. But although there are those sections and there's a YA section, the adult fiction section is huge and really overwhelming. Just keep in mind it is listed by the last name of the author, so I went in with authors' last names that I was interested in, and then I just went slowly through the aisles. Start off with a book I'm sure you all will recognize, and that is Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. As you can see, this is a really nice hardback copy, and it was only $6.50. Next is The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. I'm sure if you've been following me for a little while, you know that The Handmaid's Tale was one of my favorites, if not my favorite book of last year. A lot of you were telling me to go check out various other Margaret Atwood books, and when I saw this for $4.90, I knew I had to pick it up. This one, I read the back and I'm still not exactly clear what it's on, but I'm just so excited to read more of her works. From what I can gather though, it takes place recently after World War II, and the storyline is between two different sisters, one who dies right at the very beginning of the book. They're older. It goes back and forth between the present and the sisters trying to figure out if it was an accident or a suicide. And it's also described as science fiction, and then there's other storylines. It's also a story within a story. So quite confusing, but I'm also really intrigued. Next, Don't Mock Me. This is actually a really excellent book, and I'll probably talk about this book in my underrated YA reads, but that is Forever by Judy Blume. Funny story, when I was about 14 or 15, I tried to purchase this book too. It was $2.45, in case you're wondering, but on the back it says, lovely, graphic, explicit, this story is convincing. And the summary is the story of Catherine and Michael's love's a joyous one, filled with all the wonder of the first time. And when I was little, I tried to go ahead and buy this, and I was definitely old enough to be reading this. I think I was about 14 or 15. This is a young adult book, and I just love the way she handles sex and sexuality. But I know my parents flipped a shit when they saw me trying to check this out, and my face got bright red. And one of those scarring moments of my life was when my dad, I didn't think he would, but he stood there in front of me and read the back of the cover, and just a look of rage that filled his face I will never forget. Next is a book that I've seen Book Rat Misty talk a whole lot about, and that is Tender Morsels by Margot, what's your last name? Margot Lanigan. This looks like it's a brand new hardback, and this was $7.50. But just to be clear, I did get all of this for free. I think I hit right around $33. I might have had to have paid a quarter. This is sort of a fairy tale retelling, and I've heard really, really strange things about this. I've heard there's even like a little bit of bestiality, and I'm not just saying that because there's a bear sort of caressing a young girl on the front. That's not why I picked this up. I'm not interested in that. From other things I had heard, from such as Book Rat Misty raving about it, it just sounded really strange and weird. From what I gather, this is about a woman trying to keep her daughters from everything dark and scary in society. It takes place in a fairy tale world, and it's a retelling based on the two daughters. One is a retelling of Snow White, and the other is of Red Riding Hood. And I've also heard really mixed things about this. Some people it was their favorite book of all time, and other people just thought it was odd and terrible. Final book I picked up because one of you guys, a subscriber, I'm pretty sure had commented on one of my videos saying that Gillian Flynn had really loved this book, and that is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. Also is brand new, and it was $9, originally $27. And one of you is definitely right, because right on the front it says, one of the best novels I've read this century, Gillian Flynn. You guys have probably noticed I generally don't like to read the backs of book covers in order to give quick little summaries. The inside of this one is really intriguing, so I will go ahead and read it. On a cold and snowy night in 1910, Ursula Todd is born to an English banker and his wife. Ursula dies before she can draw her first breath. On the same cold and snowy night Ursula Todd is born, lets out a lusty wail, and embarks upon a life that will be, to say the least, unusual. For as she grows, she also dies repeatedly in a variety of ways while the young century marches on towards its second cataclysmic world war. Does Ursula's apparently infinite number of lives give her the power to save the world from its inevitable destiny? And if she can, will she? Those are all the books that I purchased. Let me know which ones you guys would like to see reviews on first. And I know you guys might be saying you told us to do that for the last book haul you have and you haven't reviewed any of those books yet. I will have a lot of reviews from those coming up very soon. Also, if you've been to a Second and Charles and had a good experience, let me know anything about it. Or if you don't have a Second and Charles and you just want to tell me your favorite place to buy cheap book from, or just books in general, I guess, then go ahead and let me know, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.